As a disclaimer, Monster Fuckers Anonymous is indeed about wanting to love and have sex with monsters, but we want to make things extremely clear from the get-go. The monsters we will be selecting will be sentient and able to consent. Not all of the chosen monsters will be sapient, but we will not be endorsing zoophilia or bestiality. Anthropologically, monsters all around the world and media representations of them have had many racial and sociological implications. We will be as transparent and ethical as possible, while also sex positive and mostly having fun.
Monsters. Creatures feared all around the world in folklore and myths. Terrifying beings such as the fiendish and frightening fae, demonic devils, sultry sirens, hazardous harpies, and countless chaotic creatures coming from crevices of every continent. As long as stories have existed, there's been one pressing question that has remained unanswered by scholars for generations. One powerful thought that has plagued our minds for millennia. Can we fuck these monsters? That is what we're here to find out today. Welcome to Monster Fuckers Anonymous.
Another fantastic episode of MFA, aka Monster Fuckers Anonymous, a show where we talk about monsters, talk about their lore, talk about their media representation, and rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 on whether or not you, yes, you listening, you with your headphones in, you just staring out into the nothingness of the void, listening to 3 horny people talking, yes, you would have sex with these monsters. I am your colorful creature consulting cleric here, and with me, as always, is the wonderful, the stupendous, our technical analyst, Joe.
Hello.
Hello. Hell.
Hell.
Hell. We're in hell. We're not, though, because hell would be hot. And today, on this episode, I don't think we're talking about anything too hot besides in the body. Isn't that right, Joe?
What? Yeah, sure.
Okay, listen, I was trying to set you up and to talk about what our topic is today, but I guess you don't know volleyball because I set you up and you just spiked it right into the ground. Not on the opposite team, but on our team. You like haiku?
Haiku? Like the poems?
So today's topic is we're getting into the cold season. This is coming out in December. It's getting chilly. Grab it's getting cold. Your grandma's bringing you cookies. Grab your grandma because it's getting cold. You got to visit your parents and your grandparents. So get up with a warm blanket.
She's not gonna last this winter. So
you want to know why she's gonna last this winter? Because it's cold, and we're talking all things ice monsters, the cold, the frigidness, everything about it. Just like your parents, when you come out to them, it's gonna get cold here. So, Joe, why do you think people are attracted to ice monsters?
I have no idea. They're cold. We are warm-blooded. It's extremely. It's interesting to think about. Me personally, the thing is that I adore ice and snow monsters. Winter has always been my favorite season. And I think my experience with winter has always just been very temperate and truly seasonal. I've never had to deal with very extreme snowy weather. So I'm sure I would feel very differently if that were the case. But I've always been able to romanticize winter.
Yeah, I think the idea of somebody super cold-blooded, because I'm very cold-blooded. I'm very I am always super cold. So the idea of seeing this cold person, absolutely cold to their core, maybe even in personality, and then you being the one to warm them up with your body or just with love, it's such an attractive thing. I think just seeing because there's always this picture that I imagine when we talk about cold monsters that their heart is frigid, and then you grab their hand and you hold it, and suddenly they're their heart, which used to be blue, so starts glowing a little bit of red tint, and that kind of imagery is just it hits different.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree.
Yeah. With that, I think that's what's so attractive about cold monsters. No guest today. I know I said 3 of us, but it's me, Joe, and Kez. So Kez has come up with, as usual, our producer pick. So I will be coming with an ice monster. Joe has come up with an ice monster. And Kez has picked an ice monster that me and Joe have no idea about. Absolutely no clue. We're going to react to it live when we're recording. And then hopefully we'll see if Kez is a horny little bastard in order to see that. But Joe, are you ready to grab your warm blanket, cuddle up by the fire, and start talking about ice monsters?
Yes, I am.
Well, I didn't ask you, so how about you start?
Okay. I will be talking about a very classic favorite ice monster that exists out there. Bringing us back to yokais, and also sort of slightly the concept of scorned women, slightly the concept of vitality sucking creatures. I'm going to be talking about the Yuki-onna.
Ooh, one of my faves.
The Yuki-onna, or the Snow Woman, is a Japanese yokai who hunts lost travelers during the snowstorms and blizzards of mountainous paths. Feeding on vitality, the Yuki-onna gives her victims her icy kiss of death, leaving them frozen solid. Although their nature is to feed on humans, there are stories of them falling in love with their prey, or being invited into civilization. As soon as any mortal finds out about her true nature, however, she must go back into the storm, immortal and cold.
I like the Yōkai-onna because like every time I've seen her in media,
The Yoko Ono?
there's fucking, oh no. Play the Beatles in the background. I don't care if it's copyrighted.
You cannot play the Beatles.
play Yellow Submarine in the background.
It's just one blip. It's 1 second of Yellow Submarine. Not even a Yoko Ono song.
I don't know Yoko Ono songs. Did she write music? I don't know the Beatles. I don't listen to white people music.
There's this song. There's this. One time she's like just screams in a museum to Katy Perry's Firework, and honestly,
that actually sounds
beautiful.
Hilarious. That sounds amazing.
It was incredible.
Just like Kez, I don't listen to the British. So, anyways, the ice one is one of my favorite tropes. Genuinely, I love it.
If you've listened to MFA as afar, you may notice that Cleric and I love icy women.
Yes, I love bitches. It's so true. I love a woman who would be like, "You piece of shit," spits in my mouth, and I say, "Yes, ma'am," and then we go home together.
Yeah, so that the Yuki-onna spits in your mouth and then she kills you.
I'm down for that.
And yeah. The thing that really drew me to the Yuki-onna was Rosario plus Vampire.
Oh my god, I love that. Oh my god, that fucking is one of the best animes.
Is like a pervy like high school anime, so just kind of like sealing that away in our minds at the moment. When I was too young to watch the show, even I was obsessed with Mizore,
yes,
the snow girl. She had like the purple like lavender like
she
hair
like a lollipop in her mouth, the
lollipop and like the cool girl kind of thing. Like I loved the lollipop. I loved like the way that she wore her school uniform. In the manga, I was caught up with it slightly. It's been fucking years now. But she just becomes, it is a harem anime, like in story, all intents and purposes. But the way that she develops in this like friend group, and also she had like an arranged marriage, like story arc that was really horrible for her. I don't know. I think in the end, there is something kind of like found family about some good harem anime, but for the most part, they are weird. But I think as soon as I found out about her, I found out about Yuki-onna, I just was like, it's over for me. I'm going to love ice women forever.
I think it's the mix of frigid heart where you're like, I want her to be the only one who warms up to. I want to be the one person that she's cold to everyone else, like does not want to talk to anybody else, is very frigid, very much I'm moving, like very businesslike. But then when she comes to you, here's how I imagine it and how I'd always pictured in my mind, because I love this trope so much. I love this monster. I love this trope. Is that you're staring like at a bar. She is like, you've been like seeing each other for a while, or like you at least know of each other, and you see her across the bar, and she's talking to like her group of friends, and they're all talking. She has a very her harem, obviously, and she has this very like dead face, kind of just listening in, just like very one note response, like with one word, like yes, of course, sure, and it's very much okay. You see that she then makes eye contact with you across the bar. And only for a split second, you see like a little smirk appear on her face. And then it goes right back to frigidity. That is, and you being the one to do that for her is like, it's so good. It's such a beautiful kind of symbolism with it, being the one to, again, also, if she froze me and then used me as a dildo, it's fine, whatever. But also there's a very romantic aspect to it.
Your whole body as a dildo. Your whole body.
My whole body.
As a dildo.
Yeah. But it's also very much a romantic aspect to it, I think. The ice woman. The reason I keep saying ice woman is because I know I'm going to say Yōkai-onna again if I.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
My brain is so fried that I think I'm going to say it again, and I'm so scared to say it again. But in anime, it's a big trope, and I also love how sometimes it's portrayed typically, because usually, like every time you see, or it's portrayed in, at least in animes and in media, she's usually wearing like a kimono. Like in the middle of the fucking like winter.
It is. She is like a very traditional sort of spirit. And I think there's a layer to them showing up in just kimono, because, or like just like, you know, maybe even naked or like barely any clothes, because I think there's something very in those stories. There is something innate in the men that encountered her to like go and like rush over to her and like give her clothes and be like, oh, it's freezing outside. Like, you know, I need to protect you. This is my instinct as a man. And then she either kills them or she is interested and like lets them like take her home. But then there are those instances of like when they do get married, and I don't know how marriage was. I'm assuming it was like, you're beautiful, let's get married. I was like, okay, sure. There was one of the stories where one of these supposed encounters happened where like there was a man that was in love with a Yuki-onna, but she had to hide who she was because otherwise she would have to go. Kind of similar to like the Selkie situation.
Okay.
Or like the Korean angels or whatever. She didn't take a bath, and that obviously was like concerning to the husband, because the husband was like, I mean, I don't know if she did. But
does
like
ice smell?
It can if it's polluted, but like if she's just like pure snow and ice, I don't think there's like a particular thing.
No. Okay, so you wouldn't smell. It would just be weird. I think
it would just be weird that she wouldn't bathe. Like she would pointedly not bathe, and then when he finally convinced her to bathe, he walked back into like the bath like area of the room, and it was just like floating icicles.
Oh,
he killed her. Like,
she murdered her.
Yeah, like
he said, "Get clean, you dirty bitch," and he said, "Clean from life."
Or she like somehow escaped, but like the one, you know, a certain negative is that these are snow women. We are warm-blooded people. We need to have like neutral, compromised, like temperature sort of places where the both of us are not going to like die either one way or the other.
That's another trope that's in animes a lot, at least that I've seen, where it's like the snow person, because sometimes it's been like a guy, like as a descendant of a Yuki-onna. It's like if they get too hot, they get too much in love, they get too steamy with it, they'll start to melt. That or their powers go out of control. Like it's either their emotions influence them and their powers go out of control, or it's that if they get too much in love and they're like, their heart beats too much, they start melting, and then you're like fucking a puddle, and no one wants to do that unless that's your thing, which I am going to kink shame. So
there is the kink of submerging your balls and dick in like a liquid,
like dipping your balls in soy sauce.
I don't know what you are referring to.
Well, okay, there was this whole trend. No, I'm not weird. Don't ever want to call it me weird. Don't fucking do this.
No, I'm not weird.
No, okay. I'm not weird. This was a trend on TikTok and on Twitter where people were like, because there's taste buds on your balls, so you would submerge your balls and shit, mostly being soy sauce, and you would be able to taste. And people did it, and they're like, yeah, I was able to taste fucking soy sauce through my ball sack.
Are your balls an extra tongue?
It's that there's like some sensitive things on there that can make it sort of taste, but it has to be like a strong like umami. Like you can't dip it in fucking pineapple juice and be like, I can taste the pineapple. It's no.
It had to be like has to be savory or spicy.
Yeah.
Dip your balls in chili sauce, chili oil.
Yeah, everyone on who's listening, please, if someone wants to try it out, send us how you felt about it. Let us know, and we won't take responsibility. I want you to know, if you do that, it's all on you.
At some point, I want to talk about the tanukis because now I'm thinking about balls.
I would love to talk about tanukis. They're ginormous balls. That's ball play, which is a whole thing.
There's a whole thing in Corruption of Champions called call back to
that. Corruption of Champions, sponsor us. I don't know about that, but hey, maybe. Possibility. I don't think this is okay. Let me ask this. Where are the snowmen located? Is it mostly in these very
Japan.
Isolated? I mean, do you want a fucking cookie for that?
Do I want a cookie for that?
Yeah, I mean, I know they're located in Japan. I know that.
Oh, yeah, no. I was just saying.
Like in environmental wise, are they only
apparently
in the ice?
The like, Japanese Alps.
Of course, I know that it's in Japan. It's a Japanese fucking monster.
Okay. The Japanese Alps is where I think like a geographic sort of terrain that has been mentioned in some encounters, quote unquote. So I mean, if it requires being in Japan, all intents and purposes, that's not that difficult. You can like get a English teacher visa or some fucking shit.
Okay, you're acting like getting a visa and adapting to an entirely new marriage or into language just to meet somebody.
Possible. It's difficult,
possible,
but it's possible.
But it's not average. It's not average. It's
right. Not. Certainly. If it just requires moving somewhere, that's one thing. But this is also the mountains where neither of us are acclimated to whatsoever.
I will relent this, and I think this is a point to it. I'm going to say that maybe, let's say that they only are really in snowy mountain areas. It doesn't just have to be located in Japan. They could be in snowy mountain areas. So there's a bunch of snowy mountain areas all over the world, especially in here in the US, fucking the Appalachian Mountains, I think, range is snowy. I don't know mountains. I don't know geography. Yeah, but I'm going to assume that there's a bunch of snowy mountain ranges already, or like if you are in the Midwest, not the Midwest, Colorado, the square state, that place is all like ice and mountains. Mm-hmm. So maybe all of the snowmen are located in fucking Colorado.
All of them?
All of them. All of them are just Colorado smoking weed, doing mushrooms.
I mean, honestly, I think ice women, should they smoke weed? Is fire near their mouth a good idea? I don't know.
You can do edibles.
Well, if they have like human forms.
Yeah, but again, even in their human forms, they could melt. Because you haven't really described how they look like, actually, and they're on ice formed.
In human form, they dress traditionally. They have like long black hair. They have like violet eyes or something along those lines. They're very icy, and their skin is cold. Like I think even in human form, their skin is just cold.
Okay, that's just me. You really describe, like, genuinely, I'm a very cold person. My skin is cold. I'm cold right now. It's
perfect.
So it's not doable.
We are these people.
I'm a Yuki-onna.
No, I'm actually I have a hard time regulating my own body temperature, autism. But I love the cold because I don't know, like I love to layer. I love to do all the stuff. So if it requires me moving to a snowy mountainous area, love mountains. I would definitely, I mean, I say this as if I would move at all to see anyone or like maintain a relationship with anyone. If it were a monster, however, if it were this specific one, mm-hmm. I can see it. I could see it.
See, I don't mind moving for a monster. Mostly if it's in a city. I'm not doing countryside, and I probably won't do mountains. If we're going back for possibility, location-wise, I don't think it's that bad. I think this is above a 6 or around I think I'm going to say a 6. The reason
I was going to say 6. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's pretty common. Mountains, snowy areas. Maybe if they only come during the winter, even where you're located.
And if they only come during the winter.
You know what I'm saying?
Actually, that is a good point. Are they only here? Is it a Persephone situation?
It might be. I would say that unless you live in a constantly
Like
cold
Alaska
environment like
or
Alaska, you have like it's going to be only seen in the winter, which is not bad. That can be if they come during the winter time, then it's more possible to encounter them in general. So
Just
I
get
think
a
it's
summer
higher.
girlfriend. Get a summer. Get a fire.
Get a summer girlfriend and a winter girlfriend. Boom, bang, boom.
Boom, bang.
The problem that I'm seeing is why it's not higher is the possibility of you being physically intimate. You're gonna heat up while having sex, and they could melt with your just your dick inside them. They could melt just from you hugging them, in case they catch that kind of feeling.
But if they also are able to take your vitality at the same time, it might be like either a mutual weakening or like a mutual sort of like mana transfer situation.
I think you're playing with a whole lot of fire, pun intended.
Worth it.
Worth it. It's worth it. So I'm going to stick with a 6. I just think melting aspect and the heat aspect is going to be what plays the biggest factor.
It'll be tricky, yeah. Will be tricky. Sensory play.
Sensory play is some fun. Sensory play would be a good option for this. I am going to say, 6 for possibility. As for attractiveness, I want to say this. I find this monster extremely attractive, but you mentioned something. Mm-hmm. You brought something up that is bothering me.
Okay.
And it's going to lower my attractiveness score. I'm somebody who showers 2 times a fucking day.
That's right.
I have anxiety where I have a shower, I get clean, and a shower, I have anxiety and panic attacks. If I have to be with a partner who doesn't shower or doesn't use the bath, like doesn't do baths at all, it's going to freak me the fuck out. Genuinely it is. Because I'm like, you're dirty. Like, I'm going to think you're dirty.
What if she takes a cold shower?
It
was just a hot bath. It was just a hot bath.
That's fine. A cold shower is A-okay. Yeah. As long as you're going to the shower. I'm going to think you're weird. Be like, oh, you didn't use the hot water. It's just be like, oh, I just like really cold showers. It's going to freak me out. I think it's fine.
She's saving on your gas bill.
She's saving on the gas. I get it. It would be a phenomenal thing. I would just be like, okay, that's odd. Usually, like, even in like the hottest weather, I still take a hot shower. So I think, again, opposite. Super cold-blooded for me because I'm generally always cold. So it's what I do. The fact that she might not take a shower ever lowers the attractiveness from what would have been a 9 to a 7.
You are so wrong for that. This is a 9 for me.
That's fine. I love the Snowwoman. I love it. It's so good. But that you brought up something that I have to correctly change.
I would love the Snowwoman. I almost called her the Smell Woman. I would love the Snowwoman even if she had the rankest armpits ever, the rankest pussy ever. I would still love her. I would love her snow rank pussy.
That's horrendous for you to say. Okay. Smell is not a bad thing. Like, I think we've talked about this before. Smell, play, like someone having a certain musk is hot. Mm-hmm. Ice doesn't smell. Snow doesn't smell that much unless it's.
She like wouldn't smell. So what's the problem?
So she doesn't have the rankest pussy. You fucking weirdo.
I said even if she did or would or could.
Let's move on to Audacity. I don't want to talk about this anymore with you.
I think there's something fairly inherently audacious about the fact that she. I don't want to say that there's an inherent desire to like feed off of humans. I think it's something that maybe comes from like a natural vengeance towards humans. Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense for any monster to just be coming after humans for any reason, really.
Yeah. I think what makes this more audacious is the fact that if you touch her in this possibility of melting, I think the possibility of melting is what makes this the most audacious. All these monsters have beef with humans, no matter what. You could probably convince her. I read this manga once, which I love a lot, where this adventurer was like going out into the wilderness to protect somebody, and this snow woman was attacking. And it was attacking because the other huntsman had attacked her children. And so this huntsman first fought her off, but then realized what was happening and apologized. He was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, like, we don't apologize for attacking children. We're just here to defend, blah, blah, blah. And then a demon came and he fought off the demon with the snow woman. And the snow woman was like, listen, you're cool. I'm glad you said you apologize. And I'm glad you fought off this demon. Anytime I'm going to disappear for another 10 years. Good. And then 10 years she disappeared. She came back. She's like, I remember you. You're cool. You're chill. And so I think if that factor with meeting somebody, you can have a conversation with Snow Woman. So with a Yuki-onna, it's less of the fear of encountering with a human, but with the fear of melting. And I think that's the big factor for audacity, I'm going to give this a 4. Actually, Psych, I'm going to give this a 6. Sorry.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's really not the personality, it's the melting factor. That is, I keep bringing it up, but that's like the big with the Yuki-onna.
7.
I think that's fine. I think 7 is very, like, I think that's pretty good.
I will run bare naked, barrel chested into the snowstorm.
Okay. All right, weirdo.
Cock and balls, soy sauce dipped.
Soy sauce balls in hand. Ma'am, will you taste my balls? Ma'am, please. Ma'am, my balls are ready for you. Parental approval. Would our Christian immigrant parents approve in a world where the Yuki-onna is more prevalent if we can? I don't
know if I mentioned this before in our yokai episode. She's straight up Japanese, so I think the xenophobic nature of my Korean parents is the Japanese hating.
Yeah, which is fair.
It'd be tough. For the most part, fairly. If she's like willing, if she's like a very traditional woman, I think that's never something that I feel like our traditionalist parents would be upset about.
Because here's again what I'm picturing. Shout out capitalism, because I'm picturing this stone, like this very frigid businesswoman. I think that's really what comes to my mind.
God, everything comes down to businesswoman.
It comes down to businesswoman. But no, even if it's not a businesswoman, this is a frigid person, rigid in principle, rigid in who she is. So maybe like. Maybe even a manager. I think, I see her as a like a PR manager, or like a manager for her as a, like, for talent, like maybe even a music manager. And she's somebody who's like, we have to do this, we have to keep moving, we have to do, like, no nonsense, like music manager. So, and she's having this hard day almost every time, managing like the stars, being like, yo, we have to do this. No, we can't do that. You please stop blowing the bathroom. We need to move. And she finally gets home, and you're there kind of with a meal. It's like, hey, babe. And she finally just, like, this frigidness kind of like melts a bit in your presence. And I think that's, if she brings that frigidness to my parents, I also think that's fine. My parents probably would like somebody who's more strict, since I'm a little bit more laid back in most things. Surprisingly, I know everyone who sees me with anxiety is like, Clark's laid back. I'm the most laid back one in my family. So I think I'm gonna give this a 7.
Damn. I'm gonna say 5 because it really just depends. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like it could also be as high as a 7, but God, you can never be sure.
It's better to play it safe. I think it's better to play it safe in the scores, just in case. So with that, we got our added up scores. Let's pause for a little bit of math.
Word.
Thank you to our current Ko-fi members for your support on the show so far. That's Gav, Chris-chan J, Daydori, Akima, and Funzo Surawali. You can find us on Ko-fi under the name Monster Lover Pod, where we post production updates, a regularly updated chart of all the monster rankings from these episodes, and outtakes that didn't make it into the very episode you're listening to right now. You can also find us on Twitter, Tumblr, and YouTube under the same name, Monster Lover Pod. Please, enjoy the rest of the episode.
Welcome to Goblets and Gaze. We are a Pathfinder 2e focused podcast that uploads every Wednesday. In our flagship show, Blood of Kings, you can listen as a gaggle of gays grows into heroes together, from their adventures hunting down a lost city to trying to open the Feywilds to save the magic of the world of Cyrene. You can also join us every Monday over on Nat20 Productions' Twitch channel for Wayward Arcadium, our very chaotic game set in a magical school. Listen as our cast tries to pass all of their classes while dealing with drama from all sides. You can find our shows anywhere you listen to podcasts. Follow us on all social media channels at Goblets and Gaze. Join our Discord community and support us on Patreon for early episodes and special releases. And remember, eat your vegetables.
Joe, what are the scores for the Yuki-onna?
Yeah, so for you, we have an overall of 6.5, and for me, a 6.8, which gives us a more accurately a 6.65 for the Yuki-onna, but rounding up to 6.7.
Okay, that's a little bit
So
that's above
decent.
that's way above average. I think that's a very solid place for it to be.
Above, that makes sense.
That's some bullshit, but whatever.
And just a point below the Jorokumo somehow.
That's right. Stay below. Nah.
All right.
My yokai's the best. Mwah. Bless up. All right, that's interesting. I think she's fair. I think this is going to be interesting. But we still have 2 other ice monsters we got to talk about. So let's figure out which one, if mine's the better choice. We all know Kez's isn't, so we can just move on from that choice.
It might be. Might be. Do we want to make a bet if it's good or bad? I think
Sure.
it's going to be good, and yours is that it's bad.
I think it's bad. So loser does
Okay.
what?
I don't have any money, so
No, we're not going to bet money. Loser what? Sends a tweet on the other one's account?
yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Cool. All right, cool.
Yeah. All right. So now that we're done with that, we got to still talk about my pick before we get to the results of Kez's. And with that, I've picked a very simple one that's famous in Norse mythology, one that's famous in D&D, and one that's kind of just famous in general that I think is super interesting are the towering, looming frost giants. Frost giants are the largest of their Jotun brethren, towering over most mortals. Creatures of ice and snow, with hair and beards of pale white and flesh as blue as glacial ice. Seen as dumb and as brutal as their environment, frost giants have a keen battle prowess and enjoy showing off their strength any way they can. They're tall ice daddies.
Okay. What specifically is differentiating them from our other giants?
So, because the differentiating factor is one, they're mainly stationed to the ice fields. They don't really leave the icy environments. 2, they have the blue skin. They deal with ice magic, all this kind of stuff. 3,
ice magic.
Yeah, they use ice magic, all of that stuff. 3 is that unlike other giants who may be more focused on wandering, like stone giants are, who are like hill giants who just kind of consume, or fire giants who enjoy like crafting of the swords, ice giants love battle. Ice giants love to fight, but not just they're seen as dumb and brutish. A lot of people describe ice giants as these giant fighting messes who just like to smash shit and fight, when actually they do appreciate the art of battle. They are people who like to battle, look into the research of it, try to be as battle heavy as possible. And they respect people who have the strength and the acumen to fight with them. So if you're at least show some strength in battle, they're like, okay, cool. You're cool with us. I like you. It doesn't have to be like you have to defeat us or you have to show or you have to like be the strongest. Like, okay, if you're quick and nimble in a fight, that's valuable because it's a good fight. Another difference, and one that I like the most, is that they're the race, or they're the giant clan, or the frost giant clan, is the ones most prone to lycanthropy among the giants. Mostly being werewolves, and my favorite being werebears.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I love the idea of an icy werebear. That is an incredible image for sure.
They wear the pelts of ice bears. Their fur, the ice bear ones are usually loners because their pelts are like used by other people and they're like skinned.
Yeah.
But because they're so close, their clan is so used to lycanthropy, they're the ones who can become closest to a pure lycanthrope, meaning that they can turn into a hybrid form of a werebear or they're the ones who can become a pure polar bear. Like other werebears, like get the brown fur, frost giants can actually become polar bears. Which I think is hot and interesting. And that's what makes them so much different than the other giants that we can talk about, or the fire giants.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is awakening something very interesting in me in particular. Is there a temperament or like a personality thing about them usually? Like with the fire giants, Logi in particular was like a fairly chill one, but I think most of the time the temperament of like fire is wrathful, right?
Yeah, the best way to describe them, because there's not much description here on the,
right.
on the Forgotten Realms wiki here, but the way that they've been described, like I said, is battle prowess. So how I like to imagine their personality being is one of very much combat. These are gladiators. These are, if we were to take them into more modern senses, I think these are the people who are playing sports. They're jocks. I think all of them are jocks. They're doing mixed martial arts. They're doing football. They're doing all the contact sports where you
Mixed
have
martial
to get.
arts. Oh,
Yeah.
so true. So true. Yeah. The gladiator type thing.
Yeah. So these are contact sports people. This is your junk. This is your, we're going to the gym. We're doing boxing or like we're
Mhm.
doing these kind of things and who value that. And they're one of the, I think there's somebody who wants to date like a fellow boxer or date somebody else who wants to like beat the shit out of them in a combat sense.
Yeah. I'm on board. I think there is something still, I don't know. There is something still missing for me. They are on the scale of like boring but hot jock
Yes.
situation. Are there specific encounters that we can also base anything off
Well,
of?
I can say if we go by some famous frost giants that we see in media, one being in the MCU, we could say that the frost giants, Loki is technically a frost giant, but he's also an outlier of that because he's one that deals mainly in magic and was raised by Asgardians, but he's technically a frost giant that you can kind of link those two together. Other frost giants,
that's right.
such as
Yeah.
Laufey. Laufey was cruel and very much a cruel battle maniac who wanted to like, I want to fight and I want to turn the whole world into ice so I can conquer and have as much playground to fight as possible. The way I picture the ice giants, the frost giants, is a very specific thing. And it's not going to be great because I don't think it's going to be a good one. This is, you're going to a gym. So here's what I'm picturing. You're going to gym, you want to work out. You want to just very much get better, do what you want to do, whatever you want to do at the gym. While you're at the gym, you're like running on the treadmill. You see a guy across the way at the boxing section. Because you know how gyms have like, sometimes they have the boxing place where you can like train. Like there's the bag where you can punch it and shit. And he is like, his headphones are blasting like heavy metal rock music. And he's like punching the fucking like bag, his sandbag. He's like punching the shit out of it. And so you're like watching and he finally catches your eye and he kind of like walks up to you and he's wearing his tank top and it says like the Joe Rogan Experience on it.
What?
And he walks up to you. Listen, I'm not trying to. Listen, I'm not done. It gets worse. It gets worse. So he walks up to you and he's like, "Hey, I saw you trekking out. You trying to box?" You're like, "Oh no, I'm just trying to train." He's like, "Wow, that's kind of lame. Like, I think you could see you in the ring." And so he finally like kind of convinces you to go into the ring, but he does not hold back. Like he's straight up trying to sock you in that, like with, you have the whole headgear on, like you have the body gear on and everything with your hands, you're pegged up, but he only has like his boxing gloves off and he's going for blood. Like he's like, your only way you learn is by doing. And so he's like straight up going hard in this boxing ring too. And then you finally get like maybe a good punch in, like after getting pelted, you do like an uppercut right to his chin. He falls down. He's like, wow, okay, so you do got some fight in you. And then he starts like warming up to you a bit. But that's the base guy.
Is the most... Okay, the thing is that there's still... Why am I willingly hanging out with this person with the Joe Rogan Experience tank top?
This isn't about you. This is about our audience.
Why is we are not advertising ourselves to an audience that listens to Joe Rogan willingly.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is a good option.
This is who you want. You want a Joe Rogan Experience something? Clear 34 listens to Joe Rogan.
Shut the fuck
Joe Rogan
up.
listens to the Joe Rogan Experience, listens to all of this. Even though there's a favorite comedian that Cleric has on the Joe Rogan. Cleric's maybe going to listen to the Joe Rogan episode.
You don't even know my favorite comedian. Who the fuck is my favorite comedian?
I don't know.
Is it Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan's not a comedian.
Yes, he is. He does comedy shows.
He should die. He should die for that, I think. Who's your favorite comedian? Joe Coy?
James Acaster.
Are you serious?
No, I haven't watched a comedy show in a hot minute, but it used to be John Mulaney, but then he became a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So now I'm just remembering the only comedy show that I like genuinely laughed at, which was James Acaster for a little bit.
Mine's Maria Bamford. Anyway.
I don't listen to Joe Rogan.
What is wrong with you?
Okay, no.
Can we just cut the episode?
No,
cut the episode.
No, we're not going to cut the episode. Shut the fuck up.
Let's
we have a
have,
schedule.
Let's have
schedule.
like a...
No, we have a, what do you want? What?
Let's have... Is there something about strong men who exhibit themselves, externalize their own potential problems through violence that you can excuse them listening to Joe Rogan.
I'm not excusing him to listen to Joe Rogan. I'm saying that in this situation where he does battle prowess over everything, that kind of alpha male mentality could
Joe
be somebody
Rogan
who listens to fucking Joe
equals
Rogan.
battle prowess?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
This
okay,
can't
no,
just. Why couldn't he just be like
that's
a
not what I'm fucking
meditative, like?
saying. You can have that portion. No, shut the fuck up. You can have
You can't
that.
meditate and
No,
also listen to
you
Joe
can-
Rogan.
I don't know. You could do both. You could do neither. I don't. Okay.
You're sounding very much like a centrist to me right now.
Oh,
and I
I'm
would
not.
like to
Don't call
extract
me a
myself
fucking
from
centrist.
the
I'm not a
podcast.
fucking centrist. Here's the thing. I'm defending myself here in the situation.
You can't.
I can though. I'm painting a picture of what this could be. I think what you said, where he's a meditative person, that's a
Why
good
couldn't
one.
it be?
Shit. Let me fucking finish, or I swear to God, when I see you at PAX U, smack in the back of your bald head.
By the way, MFA is
Okay.
we're gonna get PAX U.
This episode comes out probably while we're at PAX U.
LOL.
That's legitimately, this episode will probably come out either right before or either during or after we're at PAX U.
Hey, come see us Friday tonight at 8:30.
That's
We're gonna
not
be
even
at the.
even the right week. This comes out the day after if it was during PAX U.
I hope you enjoyed our panel. You better have been there.
You better have been there. So post your pictures on Twitter. Okay. Saying all that. Yeah, I think you brought up a good point of like the meditative one. There is the meditative, like I get into like the combat or get into the zone kind of like I want to teach you how to fight, but I also want like they're very combat himbo. But I'm also, as I show with all our monsters, because it's all our monsters, I've said this to everyone, there's a downside. And the downside could be the frost giant who listens to the fucking Joe Rogan Experience and is an alpha male piece of shit.
What did you want to come this result?
What do you mean? I'm trying to have a
did
fucking
you-
conversation with you.
That's interesting.
You were fucking listening in. You were asking questions, and as soon as I fucking gave this man a tank top, suddenly we've derailed the whole episode.
Rogan tank top.
What the fuck do you want? I've literally described why I said it.
How possible?
Shut the fuck up. I hate this fucking show. I hope our panel failed. Shut up.
How possible? Where do we need to move to Japan? Do we need to get a visa?
No, we don't have to move to fucking Japan. It just has to be cold. It just has to be cold and snowy. Winter. Appalachia.
Okay.
If you live in fucking Appalachia, it's pretty possible. There's mountains, if there's snow. Alaska. They're weird. They associate with people kind of often. They're hunting shit. I don't know. You've just taken the wind out of my fucking sails.
Good.
What do you mean good?
I grew up with a couple of people that basically were just hunters. I'm down. I'm down with the energy. If you hunt your own food, that's just the most resourceful thing that you can do.
Yeah. I've never had like somebody who's hunted their own food. Like I've never had somebody be like, I hunted this veal myself. Do you want it?
Venison.
Yeah. But I've known a couple people who did it, but they've never tasted the meal, which I'm interested in doing. I'm interested in doing that. I'm also interested in eating alligator jerky.
Can anybody at PAX U just pull up with,
Again,
like, deer
the episode,
and
it will be
crocodile
over.
jerky?
The fucking, it's not happening. The promos for this aren't happening at any time. It's done. It's either over or like literally the day after.
Cool. What are you giving this?
Fucking, I don't know, a
Score.
5. I'm giving this a 5.
I'm giving it a 5 too. Attractiveness.
I think, okay, again, take out whatever I said before. I'm going to describe again this like jock football player, probably because they're usually very tall. They're tall and bulky. They're the tallest of the Odin, usually by the max or even the average being 21 feet tall. So if you're at that, like this is a micro macro situation. You know what I'm saying? So imagine that kind of hot. If you're going by maybe even by if they have to shrink down by human standards and be kind of that tall, because they do have shape-shifting possibilities. They can shrink. They do have that magic person. Imagine them being like 6'8". Like this is a tall, bulky fighter motherfucker. The bad side is, again, personality-wise, is what really weighs this one down. Because hopefully you get the one that's just like no matter what, you have to prove yourself in strength. They like people who can prove their strength, not just like strength of character. Yeah. It's not strength of character like other ones that have been like, we like strength in general. It's somebody who likes specifically battle strength. So if you can't go toe to toe with them in the ring, if you can't show off that you're a good fighter, if you can't show off that you have that spirit or that combat prowess, it's not going to work. So I'm going to give this as a little twink who can barely, whose only mode of defense is a good mean slap. I'm going to give this I'm also going to give this a 5. It's going to be 5 across. Actually, no, I'll give this a 6 because I do like the kind of tall aspect of it, tall musclies. But that's about it.
I am attracted to a frost giant, so I will say 8.
Okay.
But a hard sell.
Is it because of the tank top?
It's not just because of the tank top, it is because of the contents of the tank top.
Well, no, you just say you have a problem with tank tops.
Claire, can we put it on record that you love, adore, and listen to Joe Rogan?
No, we're not putting it on record. That's not on fucking record.
So it's also not on the record that I have the problem with the tank top.
Well, you're the one
Just
who brought
the
it
tank
up.
top.
You're the one who's paused the show to fucking go on this
Audacity.
rant about
Audacity.
tank tops.
Audacity.
Did my
It
gaslighting
seems pretty
work?
audacious. Seems like a 3.
Did my gaslighting work? It is pretty audacious. They're 21 feet tall. They're humongous. They are, again, the battle prowess part of it. And in the ice, this is a super audacious. I think this is a 2. Because stop dropping your
Parental
ball.
acceptance.
You haven't given a score.
Oh, 3. I said 3.
No, you didn't.
Play it back.
Play it back. Kez,
Play it back.
rewind the audio. Rewind the audio, find it specifically. And if it's not there, I want you to put a fucking laugh track. That's what I want you to put.
Audacity. Audacity. Audacity.
Did my
It seems pretty audacious. Seems like a 3.
Play these nuts back. All right, parental approval.
All right.
This is not happening. The parental approval is not happening.
No,
It's not. This is a tall, bulky. They can be like, if it's a female, that maybe raise it up. It can be anybody in the spectrum for it. It's just, this could be a tall, palish person with blue skin. My parents are saying no. I'm going to give this a 2. And they want to fight. My parents don't like to fight. My parents aren't going to want to do that. They don't want a combat person.
It's at least a 3, I guess.
Yeah.
Pause for math.
Let's pause for math and really break down why we have an issue this episode. All right, excuse us, gamers, while we have a talk. All right, Joe, are we good? We okay?
We're not okay, but I have the scores.
Okay, we'll talk about this after the show. We'll get the mediator. Mm-hmm. Okay, Joe, just read them out.
So for you, Cleric, for your own pick, your average is a 3.8.
Okay, that's fine.
And for me, my overall is 4.8, which leaves the overall between the two of us, total average of the Frost Giants, a 4.3.
All right, that's fine. I don't think that's bad.
They're under.
That's fine with me. He's hot. The fuck is the problem?
Nothing.
What are you trying to say about? That's right.
He probably also listens to Joe Rogan.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up. He doesn't. He's greedy, but he's not like that. You know, we have the scores for mine, we have the scores for yours, but we have a bet going on right now.
Yes, we do have a bet going on.
So it's time for us to figure out what the producer pick is. Now, I want to do the standards by this. I want to put some standards before this bet, before we open this up that we haven't seen before. Bad means if we open this up and we both know we're gonna make a groan.
Yeah.
Even if it's slightly a groan, that I consider that bad. It was okay, I can see it. We can do good. That's I want to make that kind of distinction.
Okay. All right.
Because I want to be I think it's good, but it's objectively bad.
Okay. What if, because there's only two of us, if I think it's good or something or bad and you think it's good or bad, then how do we just break it down to the score?
I think we bring it down to the score.
Okay.
If it's high, below 5,
below
bad.
5, bad. Okay.
Above 5, good. And that's and we're not gonna be biased by it. We're not gonna change the score. Try to do
word,
it.
Word.
We're gonna do our legitimate how our feelings.
Okay. All right.
So now, everyone, we're gonna go to the producer pick. Joe,
right.
I'm gonna press it on my phone and you have it almost ready?
Yes.
3,
all right.
2, 1.
Oh, I don't know her.
Okay.
She looks great.
This isn't an initial bad. I'll tell everybody. This isn't an initial bad. This is actually somebody I was considering to do. So off rip, it's not bad. But let's talk about her and figure out how we feel about Oriel, the Frost Maiden.
Second form.
Oh, first form. Second form is just let's get to the episode. Let's get to the reception description. Let's get to the 60 shirt before we keep talking.
Okay. Oriel the Frost Maiden is a neutral, evil lesser god of cold indifference who embodies winter's cruelty. Oriel's beloved ice grasps all things in her clutches, preserving them against the ravages of time. She hoards beauty in all forms, from art objects and flowers to skilled artisans and their wondrous works, freezing them in magical ice for her pleasure alone. I don't know a goddamn thing about her.
Yeah, we don't play the dragon game that much, or at least we don't play the supplements that much. So the knowledge about who this is lax to me and Joe. Which maybe if we find her attractive, maybe we'll we'll do this.
I will say I am kind of familiar with Forgotten Realms. That was like sort of the first universe or whatever the fuck of Dungeons and Dragons that I really absorbed. I know about her relationship to Amberly and Talos. It's looking like she got kicked out of the Club of Evil for freezing Umberlee's ocean tides or something. Thanks so much, Cass, for the fucking description there. I mean, this so far, I'm getting probably a more involved Yuki-onna vibe from Oriel.
Yes, but I think the Yuki-onna was somebody who was just cold and indifferent. That was her thing. I think that would make her just someone who's just like, I want to just vibe on this mountaintop and not really talk to anybody, or I'm very cold and I'm just going to deliver you one word answers and eventually I'll warm up to you and feel like some kindness, which is a thing we do. This is definitely the cold indifference of the universe. Just in front of you. She's somebody who would see you trip and just look at you and just and she would take the pleasure in you tripping. So it's not bad, but let's take this down. I think let's break this down form by form and just kind of how we're looking here at the form. Because the first form of Ariel is like an owl bear, like a were owl kind of form. Baby. Which you don't like birds. So I don't know how you're feeling about this.
I don't, but I feel like owl bears are on a different scale. I think sometimes owls are also easier to look at in the face.
Yeah.
Just depends.
I will say I'm fucking with her first form. I like it. I think it's a cool first form.
She's so cute.
It's interesting. It's furry. It's like this kind of bear owl. Like you said, it's the owl bear kind of standing upright. It's cool. Again, it doesn't change the fact that, at least from what we're reading, she's cruel. She...
Never a problem.
Yeah, so if you're into very much... this is not even... like fine dom, straight up BDSM shit. Like she's going to put you in ice shackles and freeze your cock and balls off because she thinks it's fun. And you just have to, I think you have to be like a supreme masochist to be with Ariel.
And lucky for her.
You're a freak, dog.
I am.
I'm a freak, you a freak. Let's talk about her second form. Her second form, hot as fuck.
She's kind of like a frost giant.
Yeah, that's the frost giant vibe. This is like complete ice golem kind of vibes. It is. She's being paid of pure ice. Sticking your dick in that would be horrendous. It's putting it between two blocks of ice.
Maybe she's a power bottom, and you have to fuck her.
No, I don't.
Specifically not with your dick. Just like a third party dick, not a third party dick, like a strap or something. I feel like.
Yeah, no, she'd make like an ice dick and fuck you. I also just don't. She looks hot. I'm going to say this right now. If we're going for attractiveness, this is the second form is a 10 out of 10.
The third form can go right up my ass. I don't care.
The third form is just a dildo. I don't know if she even can talk. I would like to learn more about her third form because it's just a block of ice. It's literally just a block of ice. And if you think the block of ice is hot, then we have an issue here. Because at least the second ice had shape. At least the second ice had titties. This one doesn't even have titties.
This one doesn't even have titties.
This one has no titties. If it's a block, I don't know the way I'm going to fuck a block of ice if I had ice titties.
Well, you can go right up your ass. That's what we're saying.
Well, how big is the third form?
It's probably
It's probably fucking humongous. It's probably like a ginormous
Huge,
fucking ice
humongous.
cube.
Among Us.
Among Us? You're not sticking that shit up your ass. If it was like the size of a gem, maybe, but this is like probably a humongous glacier that's floating above, turning the entire land into ice because she wants to do it, because she's cruel.
Cass, can we get like an approximation of how big you think the third form is?
And while she does that, I will talk about some of her other...
Okay.
That's a water bottle.
It's still pretty big.
That's pretty big going up your ass. Is that approximation, or is that like what the Forgotten Realms wiki says? Okay, that's what you were saying. Okay. Means nothing. But
Damn.
So what is... I also want to talk about another part of her personality that Kaz wrote out, which I think is also important, because I'm also saying she's very cruel, but that may not be the totally... She loves beauty. She
does love beauty.
But the thing is, what if I'm not her definition of beauty? If she doesn't think I'm beautiful, she won't give a shit about me. And for our audience who's only audio only, I'm just average.
Jesus.
I know many people will be amazed. His size category is small. Okay, so then she might be able to go. She might be water bottle size.
Do you want a girlfriend that is a big owlbear, can hold you tight and kind of be warm, and she's beautiful, and then her second form is giant frost lady, and then the third form goes right up your ass.
Goes right up your ass.
That's a versatile lady. I think.
I mean, that's a versatile lady, but I also think, again, her aspect of I only like beautiful things. If you're not considered beautiful, she doesn't give a shit about you, or she'll literally leave you to die. I think is, again, a major factor of this.
For sure. Yeah.
So let's jump into the Papa scale. I think that's what we should do. So what I first want to say is possibility. It's, when it comes to location wise, again, she is in a fucking Forgotten Realms area,
right,
of the D&D
This requires
lore.
us to be part of the D&D lore.
Yeah. And even if we were, let's say we were imagining that we were like people in D&D, we have to go to fucking Frost Spire, which is the only place where she's currently located, unless she opens up a portal and lets you go into like an icy location. But she's in like this very much tall mountain area, cold away, all that kind of stuff. So you have to find her. And then we're going again for possibility for their personality. Unless you're beautiful, that's not really happening. I'm going to give this a 3.
Yeah. I think I don't want to give it necessarily under a 2 or anything.
I don't think it's a 2. I genuinely don't.
Yeah.
I would, if I was going to be super generous with it, I think it would be a 5, genuinely. But I think with personality and with location and having to even relent that we have to be in the D&D world, and even if we took that in the possibility of bringing it into the real world, she's probably she's like, it would be like going to Amsterdam, like going to a snow, like, what is it, Sweden? What is the Sweden city that's like super famous?
All of them?
I don't know. It's something. You're just going to Sweden. Like, you'd have to go fly out specifically to this location and go to like the Alps. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Go to the Alps to find her. She's only there, which is already, if we do that in like real world terms, that's already difficult as fuck. So I think a 3 is fair.
Cool. I agree. I'm sorry. I'm distracted.
Like, thanks for the clap, I guess. So you're also saying a 3?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
going to say a 3.
Attractiveness. This is where it gets tough.
It's an 8.
That's fair. I'm fine with that. I think it's okay for it to be an 8. What's happening with me is I'm factoring in all 3 forms. Because if it was just the second form, that's a 10 out of 10, straight up. I think the owl bear kind of form, the owly form, that's a 7 out of 10. The reason being feathers. I think that would be very much the disastrous kind of way about it. Still think it's hot, but it's still just a whole lot of things you got to do with it. The third form is just a block of ice that you can cram up your ass. And while I do love dildos, not what I want to at all times. So that would be like a 3.
So you're averaging sort of all the forms?
Averaging out. I think I'm going to stick with a 7, just of all forms. I think that's fair.
Word.
All right. Audacity. This is fucking audacious.
She's a not neutral evil being of cruelty and beauty.
This is super audacious. She's an ex-god. She's basically a god.
Right.
She's one of the few gods left in this realm because all the other gods fucked off. This is a 1. I'm going to be so real. This is a 1 to a 2. I'll do a 2 to be fair because it's not an actual god. I'll do a 2. I'll be fair to it.
I agree.
parental approval.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, there's no fucking
I don't even
conversation
know.
we could have here.
Neither form is even human.
Yeah. Even if because she has a bunch of magic. She has innate magic, of course, so she can shapeshift into something. Unless she's stuck. I think she's cursed to look like that, though.
But druids, like, in particular, can't just turn into humans. Like, they are specifically other beasts.
Again,
so I mean, not that she is a druid. I
think she's cursed to look like the owl form, and then like she gets some power and is able to become the ice form, which is like her more powerful form. And the third one is like pure power, I guess.
Right.
So she's cursed to look like that. So there's nothing really you can do unless you have magic to disguise self her, maybe.
Right.
But even then, she only sees beauty. If she doesn't consider my parents beautiful, her standards of beauty, she's not even gonna fucking acknowledge them. She won't even freeze them cold and right in front of me and be like, you're only beautiful to me. Look at them. Now they remain beautiful in these ice sculptures. She could be like that. Oh my god, she could also do like the fucking Lysander above it all. Lysander from Pokemon X and Y, for those of you who don't understand the reference that I'm going for, where he wanted to blow up the entire fucking world to keep it beautiful. Where his solution to keep everyone, all the hot people safe, was to set up genocide. So I don't want to date that. I don't want to stick my dick in crazy. Oh, I'll stick my dick in a lot of things, but not that. So I'm gonna think this has to be a 2. Even a 1. I'm sorry, it's got to be a 1.
It's not a 1. It is a 2.
I'll be nice. You know what? I'll be nice. I'll give it 2. I'll stick with a 2.
A 2 is nice.
A 2
yeah,
is
absolutely.
nice. I won't do a straight up 1, but I'll do a 2.
Okay,
so
we have the scores.
We got the scores, but let's see. So now is the result of the bet that we got to see. So let's do a quick pause, because we have to do a pause because we always joke like that. So let's do a pause just to regroup. All right. So Joe, you mind reading out those scores for us?
Yeah. So for you, we have a 3.5 for oral. For me, a 3.8, which does leave oral a 3.7, which is under our 5.
Under a 5.
It is under
so
our 5.
we might consider that. What do we consider that? That was considered, I think, bad. Malo.
Yeah, so, I did just say that.
Mm-hmm. So that means what do I get to do again, Joe? Could you say it for the audience, just so they know?
You get to suck your own dick and dip your own balls in soy sauce.
Besides that, I do that daily.
What? Wait.
The stunned silence.
Wait. All right. Cleric is going to post something on my Twitter, so in 2 months, y'all will understand.
Yeah, you'll understand the reference of Joe tweeting out, "I love tasting soy sauce balls."
Right, yeah.
No, I'm saying that's what you're tweeting out right now.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to refresh Twitter until we get it. So as Joe types that out, I think we can start wrapping up this episode. So with that, we already know, I think we have a distinct winner for this episode, which was the Yuki-onna at, I think it was a 6.7, correct?
Oh, do you want me to go through this?
Yeah,
score?
let's go through it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. So our lowest today is our producer pick with a 3.7 Aurel, the Frost Maiden from D&D. In the middle, we have a 4.3 for the Frost Giants, and our winner today is the 6.7 for Yuki-onna.
Which I think is phenomenal. I think that's where she should be. She should have won this episode, 100%. I get to make a shitty tweet off of Joe's account, which is a soy sauce ball. I love me some soy sauce dipped balls. And Kez gets humbled yet again for another episode in a row. I think it's 3 in a row. Kez, it's 3 in a row. Oh no. Don't. Audience and Kez, pick it up. I don't know what you do. Pick it up. But with that, I think we want to do some closing thoughts. I think I've gotten all my closing thoughts out the way. Joe, you got something to say?
Joe, scary dog friend, love dipping my balls into soy sauce and tasting the umami notes on the taste buds on the underside of my balls.
Yep, I want to see that word for word on that tweet.
Okay, got it.
No explanation. I don't want to say anyone would be like, Joe, why are you tweeting this out? You just say that you gotta defend that tweet. Like your life depends on it.
Okay, hang on. I'm still writing it.
Audience, this is what I love about this show. And if you joined us while we're at PAX U, because again, this episode will come out either both after, either right after or a week after. Thank you for showing up. We're super excited to do that panel, and we were super pumped and, kind of worried, but hopefully it went well. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it. We're going to be, I think, I'll make sure to record something at least but there it is. Hold on. Joe? What the fuck?
Oh, okay. I see. You're going to gaslight me about it.
Yep.
From the MFA Twitter. Let's go ahead and just retweet that.
Yeah, please do. From the MFA Twitter. I'd really appreciate it. Yeah. So with that tweet out the way, I think you got your closing thoughts done?
Yeah, sure.
All right, then. Well, on this cold, chilly December, me and FA are going to curl up in a big warm blanket and watch
this
Joe.
Global warming affected summer, winter.
All right, come on. We can dream. We can dream. But with that, we're going to go watch Joe dip their balls in some fucking soy sauce. All right, everybody. Bye. Hey everyone, I want to say this. I actually love D&D. One of my favorite supplements.
It would be D&D 1. I love to play advanced D&D, original D&D.